So we are done with breeding. We are done with breeding as one of the management activity we can do in chicken production. And now we can go to housing as another management activity, which is also essential in chicken production. As I already indicated, environment also matters in as far as chicken production is concerned. If you need high production from chicken, make sure that the environment is good. So proper housing is also a necessity in order for us to boost chicken production. So what can be the housing requirements for chicken? The nature of chicken house influences the survival and productivity of chicken. So, qualities of a good chicken house may include lighting. Lighting is essential in chicken production. So, the house should be adequately lit to enable proper feeding and carrying out other management activities by the farmer. Another good quality we should also look in the context of house size. Make sure that the house should be large enough to avoid overcrowding floor. So the space per build at least should be 0.4 square meter to 1 square meter. So that should be the space per build. It means the more the belts you are keeping, the larger the house should be. Let's look now in terms of security. It is important that the house should be strong enough to protect the birds from predators. Ventilation should also be another quality of the house for chicken. So the house should be well ventilated to reduce dampness, which favors development of diseases. So ventilation is very, very important. By the way, chicken, we're talking of living organisms. They will need air for them to survive. So ventilation is essential in a chicken house. Apart from that, ease of cleaning. At least the house should be easy to clean to maintain healthy birds. Most of the times, poor sanitation may encourage disease infection, parasite infection to chicken. So it is essential for the house to be always clean. So how can the house be always clean? Make sure that it should be easy for that house to be clean. At least it should have concrete. In that case, you can easily clean the house. Location can also be another thing we can look. It should be located in a well-drained area to prevent dampness. Fittings. The house should have adequate nests or boxes for laying, adequate troughs or perches, even brooders where applicable. It will depend whether you are having layers or you are having broilers or even both. On the same housing, there are several housing systems which can be used in raising these chicken. So housing systems of chicken may be intensive, semi-intensive, and extensive. If we say intensive system, we mean keeping large numbers of birds totally enclosed in a house. So intensive system is just a matter of confining these belts in a house where everything will be provided while they are in the house. They will not be allowed to go out in search of water, in search of feed, but the feed, water will be provided while they are in the house. Examples of intensive system may include deep litter system and battery cage system. Then another housing system may be semi-intensive system. This is a system of housing belts in movable houses that enable them to feed on grass lands. Examples may include Ford or arc system and sun system. Lastly, another housing system which is very common here in Malawi is the extensive system. This is a system where belts are layered in an open field where they move about and feed on grasses, insects, and grit to supplement normal feeding. So this system is also called free range or traditional system. Let us now go deeper on each and every housing system. First, we mentioned of intensive system. As already said earlier, we're saying that intensive system is the system of layering belts where they are confined in a house or structures, and all their production requirements are provided for within the poultry housing unit. So this type of system, housing system, requires a high level of management, and also all the feeding requirements for the birds are supplied by the farmer. The birds are not allowed to go out in search of feed as well as even water, but rather all the feeds as well as water, they are provided right in the house. Examples of intensive system which we mentioned is deep litter system and battery cage system. And a deep litter system, in this system, belts are confined. So this is a good picture how a deep litter system may look like. We're saying that you just have the house, but that house has no partition, no demarcation, no demarcation. What can be the advantage of using deep litter system and of intensive system? There is a high stocking rate, hence a high return per unit area of land. So expect high returns from deep litter system. Apart from that, there is low labor requirement. There is low labor requirement, and also there is fast accumulation of manure. There is fast accumulation of manure, and the system is appropriate for layering breeding stock. The disadvantages of deep litter system may include provision of individual attention to belts is difficult, just because we're saying that all the belts will just be in a big room, will just be in a big room. So it will be difficult to identify the belt maybe which will need attention, the belt which will need attention. Another disadvantage is it will encourage cannibalism and egg eating in a deep litter system, just because there will be more belts in one room. Cannibalism will be high, as well as egg eating will also be very common. The system provides conditions which encourages broodiness in belts. Sometimes you may not need that the eggs should be hatched, but just because of the system itself, you may find that some of the hen may be doing, they may be brooding. And also there is high incidence of coccidiosis and parasite infection, particularly when hygiene standards are compromised. So in a deep litter system, there is high incidence of coccidiosis. Why? You may find that some of the birds, they may be consuming the droppings from their fellows. If one of the bird maybe have been attacked by the disease, this disease so-called coccidiosis, it will be easy for the disease to be transferred or to be transmitted to the next bird. Apart from that, the parasite infection may also be compromised as well. The same, more especially if hygiene is not there, you may find that the birds may be consuming the droppings from the other birds which have been affected by parasites, therefore spreading those parasites. Another common intensive system is the battery cage. This is most intensive poultry layering system, just because it involves confining of birds in a wire cage. You have a big house. The animals, they are confined, of course, in a house or a room, but in the room now you may have some wire cages whereby the birds are put in the wire cages. Of course, the number of birds per cage varies from 1 to 4. It will depend on the size of the cage. If the cage is small, it means one bird will be enough. But if the cage is a little bit big, you may have 2, 3, or even 4. It will also depend on size of birds. Even if the wire cage is big enough, but if the birds are also big, it means it will only accommodate one. But let's say if you have many birds, it means the more the birds will be confined in a cage. And also it will also the number of birds per cage may also depend on the environment and a farmer's preference. This system, this kind of intensive system, battery cage, is mostly recommended for layers so that you can easily pick the eggs. The cages are normally arranged in rows called tiers, that is a row built over another, usually 2 to 3 in numbers. And the cages are arranged back to back and are raised 60 to 90 centimeters feet above the ground for ease of cleaning the floor. So those cages, they are not laid on the floor, but rather they are laid above the floor, about 60 to 90 centimeters feet above the ground. So this is how a battery cage system will look like. As you can see, these are the cages. We have a good number of birds per cage here. So it will depend on the farmer's preference. It will depend on the size of the cage, so on and so forth. Why using a battery cage system? We have so many advantages of battery cage, using a battery cage system. Number one, this system has a highest stocking rate because one is able to utilize the whole space in the house. Apart from that, records per individual bird can easily be kept. You can easily keep the record per individual bird, like how many eggs an individual bird has laid for a day, for 2 days, for a week, even for a month. And also the performance of birds is highest under this system, since there is a reduced movement of birds. So most of the times the performance from the birds is very high because of reduced movement of birds. Most of the times if the birds will move up and down, they will be losing weight. Energy is lost, and definitely the weight will also be lost. If that is the case, the performance will be reduced. But here, just because they are confined in a wire cage, therefore reducing their movement, therefore they will not be losing a lot of energy, even weight, and thereby increasing their performance in terms of production. Another advantage is that egg eating as well as cannibalism is rare. Just imagine you are having a single bird per cage. It will be difficult for a bird to eat another bird just because it is confined in a wire cage. So we're saying that the cases of egg eating as well as cannibalism is very rare. Apart from that, you may have some clean eggs. Clean eggs are produced. Clean eggs are produced since they roll off immediately after laying into the collection trays. Another advantage, it minimizes broodiness among the birds as they do not reach their eggs. Most of the times, once the bird has laid an egg, then the farmer will collect the egg. So it will minimize broodiness. Though the battery cage system is very important and has many advantages, but still more we have some disadvantages to the farmer as well as even production itself. One of the disadvantages is that it requires very high initial cost, which is out of reach to many farmers. We know here in Malawi, most of us, we are very poor, but the initial cost, in order for you to practice to have the system, the housing system, especially battery cage system, it is very expensive. It is very expensive. First, you need to find a room. Then you need to find some wire cages where you'll be putting your birds. So we're saying that it requires a very high initial cost, of which many farmers may not manage. Apart from that, requires very high level of management. Very high level of management. At least we'll also need the farmers who knows they have an experience in terms of using the battery cage system. For example, how many birds should I put per cage? And also this system is not suitable for breeders and broilers. It is not suitable for breeders and broilers. For breeders, we need those the different breeds to be mating, so that we can have a cross breed, a hybrid. So that we have a hybrid. But if they are confined, each individual bird is confined in a wire cage, it will be difficult for mating to happen, so that we can have a hybrid. So this system is not suitable for breeders. Apart from that, the cage is uncomfortable to birds and may lead to bruises on corpse, toes, the breast, if they try to contact the birds in the neighboring cages. So if there are animals that are not used with living in a cage, most of the times it becomes for them it will be uncomfortable. So they may try so that they get out of the cage. If they do so, some bruises may be appearing, and that may be source of infection.
Simutaya nthawi yanu kufunafuna maphunziro muzakhala wotumidwa moyo wanu wonse. Ngati simuphunzira anthu azingokutumani ajala kalime ajala kuchwe manyazi ajala katende yanti ndipo anthu ophunzira wandi wotumanso kwambiri. Ndiye ngati simuphunzira skulu akuyikirani apa mukhala otumidwa.